Hello my beautiful Pisces, welcome to my channel. This is Baba Jolie here with your career and money reading for the end of June right through the end of July 2025. I've already cleansed your space and I've meditated on your cards. For those of you who are returning, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for all your wonderful likes, shares and subscribes. I am truly grateful for all your beautiful energy. Just a little reminder though, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one reading, just so you're aware. Also, please be mindful, scammers are about, pretending to be me and lots of other tarot readers. I do not do personal readings and I will never reach out to you personally to offer one. Also, I will never ask you for money, e-gifts or donations. So if anyone masquerading as me asks for anything at all, please report them or ignore them. It is a scam, okay? Let's move straight on with your reading. Now, I'm using Gaia chimes, so please be mindful to turn down your volume if you are someone who is sensitive to sound, okay? So let us begin. Okay, my beautiful Pisces, this is your career and money reading. I'm going to get all of your cards first before I connect to an outcome. But I don't know if you noticed, but the Gaia chimes right at the end there, it almost sounded like a clock ticking back and forth. Perhaps that's the energy that I was picking up there. For some of you, you could have a time-sensitive deadline to reach, or perhaps you're giving yourself a time-sensitive goal at this time. That is the energy that was coming through, but let's get to the rest of your cards to see what's going on with you over the next coming weeks. I feel like you're taking ownership of your time in order to prioritize something, but let's go a little bit deeper and see what the cards say for you as well. Thank you so much, Spirit Guides, Great Angels. Can you please guide my beautiful Pisceans? What do they need to know regarding their career at this time? Also their finances, their money. Can you please show them the way ahead? What can they expect for their future? And what are they going through right now and the path that they are going to take to get to where they need to go in the future? Can you please highlight to them for their highest good? So your first card there is... look at that. We have the Devil card energy, and there is a clock right on that card. So yeah, I was really feeling it at the beginning there. So for some of you, you may feel like time is speeding up somehow. There's never enough time in the day, and you have a lot on your plate, a lot on your to-do list. A lot of you with that Devil card energy, you can feel under pressure right now, and perhaps there's a little bit of worry, or you're feeling a little bit stuck in a rut. You're looking at time and how far you've come, where you feel like you are right now, and where you want to take things to next. But I'll tap into things a little bit further. It's because you're reaching for something that you really care about, something that you will achieve. I want you to be aware of that. I don't feel like there's anything to worry about because you have the Sun card there, which means some of you have experienced some sort of setback or delay recently, or you feel like you're not as far ahead as you'd hoped to be. We also have the High Priestess there as well. I'm just going to go one more. Some of you could be working secretly on some new plans, or you feel like there's some changes that intuitively you have to navigate. Or you may also feel that your industry or whatever it is that you do for work at this time is changing, and you feel that there's a shift, a gear shift as it were, where part of you is in the old way of doing something and the other part of you is embracing the new beginning or the new way of doing something or approaching something. But I feel there is this energy of have faith and believe in the path, believe in the process, and trust the process, as it were. We have a Tower energy as well, okay? So the Tower actually is revelation in this particular deck there. I want you to be aware of it, but it can indicate that you're breaking out of being stuck in a rut. I mean, I always kind of like a tower, really, when it comes after the Devil card, because it can indicate something that bound you to the spot is ready to be changed, okay? Now, the tower can also indicate you are under pressure. Some of you may actually be acknowledging that you are a tower of power under some very changeable circumstances. I mean, you know, the tower can indicate that you're looking at what is steady and true right now, how to follow through on the foundation of a plan. Some of you could even be rebuilding at this time, but I will tap into all the cards when they pop out. The tower can be like an eye-opener, okay? Especially, oh yeah, we got the Eight of Swords here. Eight of Swords can indicate that something that you can't see right now suddenly comes to light. And for some of you, it could be a surprise. I mean, looking at the energy, for some of you with that sun energy there, it's not a negative surprise, but I will tap into that tower just to be sure. I mean, when you get the High Priestess and the tower energy, it can indicate that intuitively you avoid, you know, either a power play or perhaps a misstep, because you already instinctively, you made a move that avoided some sort of like financial disaster for some of you, because it's King of Pentacles there. Or it could be that perhaps there's a restructure going on in your industry and you're feeling a little bit nervous right now. And, you know, you have a lot on your mind. There's a little bit of worry there. But actually with that King of Pentacles, it can indicate that it makes you implement an idea or be really maverick, and financially you benefit from it in some way. So please take it as it resonates, but I will tap into the energy. We've got the Knight of Cups. This is a surprise that you're going to love. Knight of Cups is to follow your bliss. It can be an opportunity that comes in suddenly out of the blue, out of nowhere, that you're like, oh my gosh, I could attract more money in this position, or I could flourish in this position, because King of Pentacles is a really positive card, okay? But it can indicate that, you know, you've hit a plateau in your industry or whatever it is that you do, and it can be that you want to break out of a cycle of repeat or a repetitive kind of routine that you've got locked into or are committed to. You're dedicated to something. Some of you may want to like gear shift and perhaps change your approach in some way, because the Knight of Cups, it indicates that you have a vision of something and it's actually long term. It's going somewhere. It's following your bliss. You know, it can be an invitation, for example, to join a very prestigious kind of governing body or have more responsibility in your working environment. For some of you, you know, especially if you are an independent worker or an entrepreneur, it could be that you're asked to give a very important talk on something that you love. It can be that people see you as a figurehead or someone who, you know, is very ambitious, very practical, but also highly intelligent and actually very successful so far in what you do. So you could actually be surprised that someone wants to collaborate, or someone wants your knowledge or asks you for advice and actually pays for it as well there, okay? Now, I want you to acknowledge that if some of you, not all of you, but if some of you have come to this reading and you've gone through some sort of shock in your industry, or you've been made redundant or let go of a position, or even walked away from a very toxic environment, because the Devil card can be a toxic energy, and the Tower is to break free, okay? The Tower is restructure. So if you have gone through that, okay, I'm only mentioning it because the Devil card is in the protagonist energy, okay? So it can indicate some of you have been feeling a bit stuck or worried about the job market, the shortages, the difficulties, and things being really oversaturated right now, especially since the Eight of Swords. Some of you may feel a bit in a bind on something, and with the Five of Swords, it's created a little bit of worry there, and perhaps some of your worries about fluctuating finances. I do see like a very prestigious role, high-ranking role coming your way. Something that will come out of the blue, something that actually you're not expecting. And it can be that like you're interested in one avenue and suddenly it's like another avenue kind of arises and say, well, what about this one? It feels like it's connected, so you could migrate your skills in this, okay? But it is like a dream job. It is an opportunity. You're going to be offered something, and actually there is the potential to negotiate a higher salary in this. So, you know, when you go for your interview, I feel like you're going to go for at least 2 interviews here. Yeah, second interview energy. If you're wanting to work for a company or with a company there, I feel there's 2 interviews, and there could be like then a meeting it's almost like not an interview. It feels like a meeting to meet like the CEO or the person who has the final say. And it's like a very brief kind of meeting where you just discuss maybe not even your resume. It's kind of like, can this person get on with you? There's an energy here of like personality to see if you gel, and you do. I feel like you're offered something here, and I feel they may ask you, well, what is it you are asking for? What are you reaching for in terms of salary with this role? And even though they've got a certain amount, you've got a lot of smarts. You're someone who is highly established at what you do already, especially with King of Pentacles energy. It can indicate that you're very savvy, you're very invested in your career, very ambitious, and you've got the skill set to back it up. So I feel like a lot of you, especially with that Two of Pentacles, there's an opportunity to kind of like negotiate a deal, and you may ask for a certain amount of money that's a little bit higher than what you're really wanting, okay? So they can negotiate you down and feel like they're still in command, like they win the moment, by offering you a certain amount of money that you're going to almost like concede on and say, you know what, okay, I really would like to invest my energy and my talent in this company to grow. I want to be loyal to this industry. So yeah, I'll take that salary. It's a deal. When really it's more than you asked for in your mind, or it's really more than you really wanted, okay? So I do get this energy coming through. I feel like you're being very smart in terms of business, and I feel there is a role coming in. It feels like it's very responsible. Okay, so there could be a lot of administrative tasks there, a lot of kind of like trade energy, like you're very skilled at this business. I feel you're going to be very successful in this role, and you're taking it to the top, okay? And the Knight of Cups indicates that you're going to love it. So I would say, yeah, looking at this energy, there is a role that you cannot see yet, but it will be revealed to you with that Sun energy. So if you're currently looking for a role, looking at the energy, I would say it's probably about the 3rd week of July when it starts to materialize that, oh my gosh, this is the dream job, okay? That's what's coming through in this particular energy. May not resonate with everyone for the 3rd week of July, maybe just after, but I got an energy here of the 3rd week of July being very relevant, okay? So with a lot of love and respect, I'm going to move away from that energy and connect to everybody else who's working or, just wanting to come here about your money. Let's get the money aspect out of the way. A lot of you are worried, okay? It can be that you're looking at the economy. Some of you are preempting some sort of like market, let's say, fluctuation, okay? Because there's certain words on YouTube that trigger, sort of algorithms and things. But let's say you're preempting some sort of transformation in the economy that is challenging, okay? And a lot of you could be worried about this because the Devil card is a protagonist energy, and it can represent fear. It can represent a little bit of worry there, or feeling stuck in your situation, especially since you've got the 8 of Swords. This can be the fear of the unknown. We're constantly bombarded with news that tomorrow everything's going to come, falling down sort of thing, when actually, we need to put our worries into perspective. And I feel, of course, there is going to be some volatile energy, and you may have witnessed, redundancies or closures in industry, no matter what industry you work in. And, there could be some worry there about the way things are going and your personal situation, because 8 is the number of the self. But looking at the outcome energy, I feel that some of you are going to have sudden like epiphanies on ideas, or maybe even, sudden opportunities come in that safeguard you and your finances. I feel a lot of you are attracting like new ideas, very inspired to put yourself in a position to build wealth. This is a card of success. It's a card of business ownership as well. So it could be that you're taking ownership of your finances, and it can be that, the Tower is a sudden epiphany. It doesn't have to be like a complete restructure. It can be a sudden idea that hits you like a bolt from the blue, and suddenly you just know this is an award-winning idea, or this is a money-making scheme that's going to be really wonderful for you. So a lot of you, this is going to be through hard work. Okay, so I feel if you're having these like off the wall or outside the box ideas right now, they are going to be very successful, and you're going to see your finances flourish. Also, if you're in a traditional kind of route, job at this moment in time, the King of Pentacles can indicate that there is a promotion available for you at this time, or there is going to be one made available, and it could come at the shock removal of someone from a company. Okay, now of course not everybody works for a company, so if you're someone who is an independent worker or you're already your own boss, of course you're going to be worried about things shifting and changing because you're responsible for showing up every day and being inspired and doing what you do best. But I do see that you're making some very instinctive financial moves and you're building in wealth. Okay, this indicates you're very smart with your money, stricter with your finances in the next coming weeks, and pooling your resources in order to save, but also to take down any debt. Okay, repayments, things like that. Some of you, because I'm just getting this energy with this tower, some of you may topple a debt, so you may pay off a repayment plan finally, okay, and now you're in command, and it can be that you get to save a little bit more money. Not all of you, of course, but the King of Pentacles, you know, this is a card that indicates that you will reap rewards of the hard work, or you're doing something that actually attracts more money. But also, these two energies can indicate, especially with the Two of Pentacles there, I mean, I feel like you're making Two of Pentacles into a King of Pentacles. So that can indicate you're diversifying what you have already. Some of you, not all of you, but some of you may be, you know, lucky enough to have real estate, and you may see some extra money come on in through things like that. For some of you, this could be something that you're contemplating at this time, because the Eight of Swords is to feel a little bit anxious, but, you know, to really go inwards for answers and, you know, almost like limit distractions in order to work out an idea or something in order to double your dough, as it were. But for some of you as well, there's a lot of energy of worry here, or anxiety, or not feeling completely secure. And this could be, you know, we're all going through some very challenging times economically, but also in terms of the world right now, and things have shifted. Looking at your outcome energy, we have that Knight of Cups there. We have the King of Pentacles, and we have the High Priestess with the Tower. So this can indicate that you're cautious, but intuitively you're making some moves in your industry, and already, you know, you are someone who is secure in your industry. I feel, if anything, with that King of Pentacles, there is some sort of like serious role, or, you know, some of you may feel that you need to have a backup plan, and I feel looking at it, it'll only inform your bank account with more money. I don't feel like there is a need for this backup plan, but it's always good to have one, okay? I mean, the King of Pentacles attracts more wealth, and also, you know, is command of money. And I just feel there is this energy of you being responsible with money. You're self-made, you're down to earth, you know, you have a strong sense of duty to your tasks, your skills, and, you know, of course, you're building the good life. You are building towards a financially secure future. So a lot of you, you know, you may be overly concerned with your wealth at this time, but I feel there are some good opportunities coming your way to increase your finances, but also it could be something that you love doing, like you have a vision of doing something and it really excites you, or you're creative. So I do see a lot of you, Two of Pentacles to a King of Pentacles. I feel like you're making your resources go a long way. So this could be you diversifying funds or branching out with ideas, or it could be that you're capitalizing on, you know, some of the investments you have right now. Two of Pentacles is to remain flexible, but it's also to get into the rhythm of like juggling your finances, or, you know, making sure that you know what each account is doing, for example, and just staying on top of, you know, your acquisitions. And I feel like you are doing that. But of course, these cards, I didn't choose the cards for you, my beautiful Pisces. You know, we have the Eight of Swords there and the Five of Swords. You have a lot on your mind, okay? So I feel sometimes when you feel a bit overwhelmed or overstretched, overworked, under-supported, because a lot of you, that Tower can be pressure, you know, if you don't manage to get a little bit of a break, or you don't manage to withdraw, because that's what the High Priestess is all about, taking a withdrawal period or some time out there to really reflect on who you are, recharge your batteries, where you want to take your career to next, then of course this Tower can represent, you know, some combustible energy. And it can indicate that suddenly you get like a seasonal cold, for example, because you're pushing yourself too hard. But the nature of industry and, the world right now, it's like it's moving the goalposts and the pressure is on. You may feel that things are more difficult than they used to be, and you have a lot on your plate. It's almost like there is a mountain of work. For some of you, you may be witnessing like redundancies in industry right now, and you feel like the pile of work for you is building and building and building. And it can be that, there is going to be a support network offered to you, or there is going to be something offered to you that takes you away from that, is what I'm seeing there, and it just feels like a better position. Okay, so a lot of you, if you're wondering about finances, Two of Pentacles to a King of Pentacles, it means you're serious about making what you have, your resources at this moment in time, work for you. Okay, so it could be that you're looking at how best to structure your finances, because remember, a tower is a structure. It can indicate that you are trying to safeguard your finances, but for some of you with that King of Pentacles, you can't do it alone. So getting good advice from someone who's qualified to do what you're wanting to do with your finances is a very sound decision. To have just the intuition card there, it can indicate that if you're just instinctively making a move, which is great, but make sure you have the facts to back it up, or someone who is legally able to help you structure your finances for generational wealth and things like that, then you won't misstep. Okay, so I feel it'll be a very sound thing to do. A lot of you, you're trying to protect your finances against any sort of volatility in the market, or, you may be worried about your 401ks right now, for example, because the King of Pentacles can be you looking at the maturity of funds in certain accounts right now, and you're feeling a little bit anxious. But looking at the energy, I feel that, of course, everything fluctuates, and I feel there will be like 401ks that kind of build back again, and I feel there is this energy of being able to treat yourself and, making money go a long way, okay? But for some of you, and this can also connect to people who work independently, whether you're an artist, creator, whether you are an entrepreneur or an influencer in any way, shape, or form. I mean, the Tower tells me you're someone who stands out. You have wonderful ideas, but we have that Devil card, and this can indicate that you're super passionate about what you do. And you're so passionate that sometimes you burn yourself out, especially because if you're working for yourself, a lot of you, you'll know that running your own business, it's 24/7. It's not just 9 to 5. It can be always on your mind, and that can create worry or stress. So a lot of you, I feel like, in order to maintain and sustain a certain level of success, some of you are feeling a little bit anxious or stressed out because you always feel like you have to focus on the next to keep it going. It's almost like a treadmill energy. But I feel like you're in a really good position, okay? I will pull a card on that Tower for a lot of you to see what's going on there. But it can also indicate like some minor argument with a person in a position of authority, or someone kind of like being a job's worth who is trying to be really difficult. And intuitively, you may actually, approach this person with kindness to dissolve their crankiness. The Tower can literally be someone not agreeing with you and them doing something or saying something really shocking that is there to provoke you in some way. And you could be like, no, I'm not allowing you to, mess with my inner peace. Because a lot of you, I feel like you're trying to protect your inner peace right now with that 8 of Swords, okay? But, whether you work for a company or whether you work for yourself independently, or even if you are, currently searching for a role, the Devil card can indicate that you're looking at unhealthy practices in the working environment, and you're making sure that if you're working in a toxic environment, or you did before in the past, that you restructure with that Tower. You're not allowing it to happen again. You value who you are. This is a card of self-worth. This is a card of value, knowing your skill set and appreciating what you bring to the table. Actually make sure that you rebuild in a different way, or you make sure people do not overstep a mark when it comes to, your working environment. Now, 8 of Swords, it can indicate some of you are locked into a cycle of repeat, or you feel that there is a few problems that perhaps you need to solve over the next coming weeks and months. But what I do see here is some of you, there is this like multitasking energy where I feel like there is a new vision that you really want to connect to, but you don't have time because you're so busy, and it could leave you a little bit frustrated, but you will actually give some time to it in the next coming weeks, which makes you feel fulfilled. And after a certain period of time, it's all going to come together as it should. And this could be a project. It could be, you launching something. It could be the startup of something for some of you. And for some of you with that Eight of Swords, you can't see how it's all going to come together in the time frame that you've got or the time frame you've given yourself, but I can see it will, okay? And you're going to be really proud of yourself as well. Now, Eight of Swords is a figure standing very straight and still. They are bound to a situation. Some of you may feel like you're bound to a contract, perhaps like a service provider right now that, maybe it's glitching. For some of you, you could be looking at like contracts that are ending or things that you want to renew at this time, and you could see that there's something binding at this moment in time that you want to release yourself from, and you may have to wait it out. So if there is a service that is not working for you, I feel, of course, you're going to have to connect to customer services, all of the stuff, but I feel like you're going to have to wait out the term, okay? Even though they're not providing the service or there's glitches or problems, I feel contractually you're bound to this until it ends. And then you're free. The Tower is to set free. So I feel a lot of you also with this Eight of Swords, it can indicate you're committed to something at this time that feels like it's the same old thing, just a different day, okay? Swords are all about the mind, so it can indicate there's been a difficult situation in your working environment, or perhaps you feel like there needs to be change in some way of approaching your work, but you feel like your hands are tied in some way right now, or you feel like you're restricted or held back by somebody, or even your own thoughts. Sometimes it could be doubt when you're about to launch something and step into your greatness. Sometimes those thoughts can really sabotage ourselves. So for a lot of you, if you're trying to become your own boss, there's a lot of solo energy here with this and the High Priestess. This can be that you're trying to set up like an industry business, or perhaps, you're investing in your ideas at this time and you're worried about how it's going to go when it's launched. But that worry or that whisper of doubt is something that happens to the majority of humans just before they're about to do something really awesome. On the other side of fear is possibility. And I can see, that there is an exciting endeavor that you'll step into that sees you in a very powerful position. And it's like you're going for gold on something, whether it is launching your own business or doing something that you love, or something that perhaps people have said, oh, not everybody can do that, or, you have to have lots of contacts to be able to do that. Or, if people try to limit your greatness or try and tell you you can't do something, it's normally because they may have tried and it didn't work out for them. It doesn't mean it's not going to work out for you. I can see with the outcome energy, a lot of you are going to be shocked at how well it goes, whatever this is. The Five of Swords indicates a lot of you have stuff on your mind. You have a to-do list, and I feel this is about prioritizing at this time as well. Swords are about communication. They're also about the mind. So I would say, be mindful, especially when you're under pressure, how you talk to yourself. You're capable of so much success, and I feel like you're someone who's already very successful, but it's about maintaining and sustaining. And I feel also it's important that I'm being given this energy of when we look at things like news sources or the world. Of course, there's a lot going on right now that is very volatile, shall we say, and it can make everybody feel a little bit worried about what is to come. But I feel looking at the energy with the Eight of Swords, it's telling me that suddenly you are kind of locked into your goals. You're doing what you need to do that is necessary to, move forward on an idea. You're reaching for something here, and it's going to be very successful. And actually, a lot of you, it's like a plot twist. Some of you with that Five of Swords, it can be, that tension has made you change something or shift perspective. So some of you, it can be that you've been sitting on an idea for a while, and I'm not putting any fingers out there and pointing them at you, my beautiful Pisceans. We all get into a little bit of a funk sometimes. We get so busy in one area that we neglect another area or an idea that we want to get round to. And sometimes we can sit on that idea for months, years sometimes, and you're not being complacent. It can be that you just got into a cycle of repeat, and now you're breaking free because it's calling to you, that idea is calling to you, that level of tension. When we start to get a little bit snappy or frustrated, it's because we're not fully locked onto doing something that we enjoy, or perhaps there's something calling to us that we want to give our time to, but we just haven't found a way to like move tasks or responsibilities around in order to be able to do it. I mean, a lot of you here, you're actually going to be doing administrative tasks or, serious tasks, your day-to-day duties with that King of Pentacles. So you're on top of your goals for sure. But I feel there's something here that you want to create space for right now. It feels very much like an idea, something that you can see a vision of the future. There's just so much success with this, and you're going to make it happen. You're going the distance on this. And, sometimes that tension, that pressure is a shaper of worlds. Humans in general, we all kind of get into a certain kind of comfortable aspect in life. If we feel like things are ticking over, okay, we're working really hard. And, it's about sometimes feeling that comfortability, if that is even a word, and kind of like go, okay, well, what next? Or there's this thing I really want to do over here, though. I've got to maintain and sustain this, because some of you, this is a second stream of income. It could be like a seasonal role, or it could be like a side hustle or something that actually is going to be very lucrative indeed. It could be something you're investing in now that is like just an idea. It's just like getting some energy into it. And then when you launch it, it really flourishes. But it requires that level of tension that when you're feeling like, okay, I've been comfortable now, I'm in this role for a certain while, or I've done this for a certain while, you start to feel like, okay, I want to expand on this, or I want to tweak it in a way. I want to revamp it. So some of you could be doing that right now to keep things fresh for yourself, because I feel like you're bubbling up with lots of ideas here and you're reaching for something more. And the sun energy indicates you may have delayed this because it's in the resistance position, like you got it in the reverse there. So I feel some of you, you may have delayed this or put it on the shelf to come back to it later. A lot of you are exhausted. This is an energy card and it's in the resistance position. So it tells me a lot of you have been challenged with your energy levels. They're fluctuating. You've had so much on your plate with that Two of Pentacles. You're multitasking. This can indicate that you're juggling so much right now and life is hard. Okay, but I do see a breakthrough happening here for you where suddenly, you have more energy than usual. If you've had some fluctuations there, personally, it could have been hormonal related. Because there's so much earth in your reading there, I would say it could be also vitamin related. There may have been a deficiency, maybe even something like vitamin D or A. I mean, check with a practitioner. I'm not a medical professional, so, always check, but that's coming immediately there to me. So perhaps it's something that you want to look into, or maybe it's something that you've discussed already with your healthcare provider there. But I feel, you're going to get optimum energy and back to best is what I'm seeing there. But the Sun card, will go into the upright because it's in this position. It shifts halfway through the next 6 weeks there, which means, there is a flourishing of your career, something that you're reaching for. You're going to see starts to take shape or it's coming together. This is a success card. So the success you cannot see right now is actually going to come on in, or there's some sort of milestone where you'll celebrate this moment of like, it's all starting to look like it's coming together. I mean, the sun energy indicates that there is a brighter future to look forward to. I feel like there is abundance here. There's money flowing to you when you have a sun card and a King of Pentacles. So for some of you, this could be an energy of something you're about to launch, or it could be some sort of real estate. As I mentioned there, you could be selling the real estate that you have. For some of you, not all of you, but if you are selling, I feel like you get a really nice price for it, and then suddenly you'll start to see a dip in the housing market, and it's like you sold before it really took a turn for some of you there. But also this Two of Pentacles, this can indicate that you are focused on two things, or you're going to be focused on two things over the next 6 weeks. One of them is something you're maintaining and sustaining. The other thing seems to be something that you have as a project on the side that actually will be very important to you. I mean, Two of Pentacles normally means new money will be available for new projects. So it could be you're developing something, or you're being really practical with your plans right now. You're committed to your financial future. And I feel this card can indicate you have to make a choice as well. Okay, so if you're putting your resume out there, finding new opportunities, I definitely see one coming on in. I mentioned it before. I feel it's the same kind of energy coming through. But also for some of you, there is some sort of promotion and it's a shock. It's a surprise. It's like someone leaves a position and then there's a complete restructure. Okay, and promotion is made available and there is more money available as well. And economically, things, don't look like they could be going that way, but I feel you personally will benefit from this restructure. Now, moving it back a little bit, some of you may actually be trying to protect your inner peace because there is some sort of distraction over the next 6 weeks. I hate to give that message. If you are someone who works alone, if you run your own business or, you work from home, there could be some sort of sound distraction, like your neighbors could be doing DIY, for example. If you work in an office, there could be some sort of event that is overbearing when it comes to noise. So I feel some of you may split your time between places in order to limit that noise, but a lot of you are trying to remove any distractions at this time in order to focus onto this goal. And I feel it's going to change everything, whatever this is, because the Tower is a complete restructure. And because you have the Devil card there, I would say a lot of you are changing the way that you work so that you free up your time to do more things that you love. This could be a schedule change for some of you, or it could be that you find some sort of new tool or some sort of asset that helps you with your industry that like halves the time so you can have more time to focus on other things. I feel like you're definitely prioritizing and being more efficient over the next coming weeks and months, but the Strength card also indicates that you have been struggling with something because of course it's in the resistance position at first, but I feel this is a problem-solving time for you and you conquer this, whatever this is. You have the strength to go the distance. And the Strength card indicates unlimited inner resources, but also self-respect in your industry. So if someone has been trying to micromanage you or play one person off the other, because I'm feeling power play for some of you, I feel like this person could get shocked because you and this person may actually communicate. So if there's like a third person, like for example, if you work for a company and you have a boss, it could be one person, the boss, is playing one person like against you and making you almost like rivals. And when you have like a friendly conversation with this person, you really suss them out and think, hey, actually, that's not the information I was given by our boss. And you could realize that the boss is having a bit of a power play or that they're playing one off the other. Intuitively, you feel, and I feel like you find out because the sun reveals, I feel like you could be shocked that you were right on something, because this is to have intuition and know something, the knowingness that's there. And of course, the revelation is like, oh my gosh, I knew that. I knew it. I just felt it. So I feel like you're right about something, and you could reveal a truth or you could reveal a secret from somebody and realize that you were right. Now, what you do with that secret is totally up to you, but I feel like you may approach something differently. It's like, oh, you want to play like that, do you? Well, now you have the upper hand because you know some information that they don't know. So I feel there could be some, win for you out of this. But some of you are just going to come out and say it and say, hey, you told this person this, and I know that's not true because you told me this. So you could confront something. Just be a little bit mindful, especially if this person has a lot of clout in your industry, because this person, looking at the energy, I feel like they have a soft spot for you. Ultimately, they see a lot of themselves in you. And even if you work for yourself, you're an independent worker, you could come across someone who is very well known in the industry that you work in, and they could actually maybe invite you or another person, both of you together, to an event and kind of like try to make you rivals or something, tell you one thing against the other, and you could call them out on this, but this person's got a lot of clout, okay? And I would just say that holding the information in as a secret and just being aware of it so that you avoid their power play seems to be the best way forward, because it feels like you get further, you advance further because of it. So if this person's got a lot of clout, I feel like it's not beneath them to be really mean or unfair to try and limit your progress if you try to confront them or call them out on it. Just be warned, okay? That's something that's coming through. I never get messages like that in my readings, but that's something that's just come through there. So just be a little bit mindful, okay? Now, a lot of you, whether you work in a company or whether you work for yourself, you're feeling a bit isolated at this time. You may feel like somehow you're on the outside looking in and you're working really hard. You're just like, if I just keep my head down and work really hard and build my financial future, that's all I care about, in and out. I just want it done, okay? But I feel a lot of you are trying to connect more to things that you love doing, because this is about following your heart, following your bliss, but also reigniting your spirits for what you do. So if you feel like you've got a little bit stuck in a rut, or things became stale, or you've lost that loving feeling for what you do, I do see a time where everything changes and you go the distance on something and it feels like you feel really fulfilled in your role. So either that's through a restructure, or that's you suddenly giving in your resignation and saying, I'm gone. But I feel a lot of you, if you're doing that, it's because you have something else that's been offered to you, and you may be like keeping it quiet right now and waiting for the right moment to give in that resignation. You're actually going to shock a lot of people, especially your boss, if you work for a company. But if you are an independent worker or an entrepreneur, I'm going to pull some cards on this, but I feel a lot of you are just going to have like a monumental money-making idea, and it's even going to shock you how well it does, okay? So the High Priestess indicates a lot of you are reviewing what you're doing right now, whether you work for a company or whether you work for yourself. It can be that you're in a reprogramming kind of stage where you're looking at where you've been, where you are right now, and where you want to take things to next. But it could also be like new information comes towards you. Some of you could be quietly learning new knowledge at this time, or putting yourself on a course of learning to inform your future so that you can enter new pay grades at this time, new like technology, or a lot of you with the High Priestess, it's a card that connects to the ether. So you could be utilizing like a social media platform, for example, to expand your reach. Or, you are someone who has a lot of knowledge in whatever it is that you do. And you could actually utilize some sort of social media platform or some sort of like company platform that kind of shares your knowledge, because the Two of Pentacles can be to share, okay? And it could be that you actually make money from like creating a course of learning, so that you teach other people what it is that you do, and you're so surprised that you can make a lot of money with this. And it's something that if you create it now, so a lot of you could be feeling like, okay, I want to create this thing, I want to get it out as quickly as possible, but you're taking your time with it because you have a lot of attention to detail. But once it's up and running, it's almost like automated. People could download it, for example, because you have a lot of swords and you have that very cerebral ether energy with that High Priestess energy right there. So a lot of you, it can be that it frees you up. The Tower is to be free. It is to take a leap of faith. It is to suddenly, remove yourself from a very binding situation. If you think about the Tower, sometimes it can represent like a prison where you feel comfortable there. It's a construct that we make for ourselves. I mean, if you think about everything that we've been born into, the average person like myself, for example, we grow up and we're told we got to go get a job, for example, steady job, pay the bills, get a mortgage, have a family, work towards retirement. That's the structure, right? Some of you are saying, okay, I see the structure, but I want to break down the structure because I want to spend more time doing things that I love, or be with my family, or explore the world. So a lot of you could be like breaking down this structure, as it were. I know a lot of people say breaking free from the matrix, and to some degree I understand what that means, but it can be that a lot of you, there is this energy of restructuring the way that you work so you can be free. Maybe even for some of you, nomadic. Making money as you roam. It could be that you're like deciding to really be free from a structure. But a lot of you, it can be that, we get into a structure where, we're locked into a mortgage, for example. We have to pay the bills, and, we feel somehow stuck. Even if we feel unhappy in the role that we're in a job, we feel somehow bound because we feel this sense of duty or responsibility to money or bills or like family and things like that. But a lot of you, it can be that, you are taking a leap of faith on an idea or launching something that's totally bold, daring, and new, and suddenly it sets you free in some way. So let me just pull a quick card on that Tower for you. These could just be thoughts at this moment in time, because your protagonist energy is the Eight of Swords, to be deeply reflective in thought. And Five of Swords can also be anxiety. And the Devil card can be like overthinking, overanalyzing. And I feel like you're going to naturally, organically find your way towards this path if you feel like you're not on it already. And if you're on it already, I feel you're feeling the fear and you're doing it anyway. And you know, a lot of you, that Devil card, it can be that you are tapping into your raw passion. That you're deciding it's time to change something, and you are just really passionate about what you do. You are reigniting that spark, and you're obsessed about going after something, and you're going to be excited about it, and there's going to be evolution there. There's going to be success there. Just wanted to see what that Tower represents for you. The Four of Swords is a card of protection. It normally means the figure in the Four of Swords is protected, and it can indicate, you know, for some of you, if you're witnessing, for example, closures, because the Tower and a Four of Swords can be a closure of something. If you're witnessing closures or redundancies, of course, this can be that you're worried about those things. You're worried about your industry. And if a lot of your industry is connecting to technology, AI, things like that, a lot of you, the Four of Swords, it can be that you're deeply reflective on how you can navigate or be flexible in these circumstances in order to remain relevant in your career or learn skills that keep you, you know, working and doing something that you love. But this card, you know, I feel a lot of you, this can indicate that you're working at capacity and you're close to burnout. And the Four of Swords is like calling out for you to have a rest. Okay, but also if there's any restructures, like major restructures going on in your industry, Four of Swords indicates you're protected. Okay, and we've got the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles is to save something, but it's also to feel like a little bit dissatisfied with where you feel like you're at right now. You're in a self-evaluation period. Things are developing, okay? When you're in the middle of things that you're doing, sometimes you can feel like you're at a stationary point because you're in the middle of it. But when it all starts to take shape and come together, you realize that actually there's a lot of accomplishment there. Now, some of you, this could also be a deal that you're brokering at this time, and it may shock you that actually, you know, at first there is this energy of, you know, reward for the hard work, but you're like, actually, my skill set deserves more. So you could negotiate, you know, you're planning ahead, you're actually kind of like, almost like reviewing your achievements right now and kind of saying, okay, I want more. I'm capable of more, or I'm working towards more. I'm working towards a certain savings pot, or, you know, you have a plan there, and I feel like you're going to negotiate a better deal. Take a step back sometimes and think, hang on a minute, if I accept this, then I'm going to be stuck. It's not going to work. It's not going to help me aspire to the lifestyle that I want right now. So some of you could, you know, pause or remove yourself in order to wait until you get a better deal for some of you. And also, Three of Cups is a celebration. So I feel there is this energy of you kind of like looking at where you're at. Things are developing. Four of Swords can indicate, as I mentioned, you know, you're taking stock of things, you're waiting. There is this energy of solitude. If you're walking a very lonely path, you know, it's very lonely at the top. That's what they say. And it can indicate that you're headed towards the top, or you are aware of how lonely it is at the top. You're maintaining and sustaining, but it could be that, you know, you are finding a way to balance out your energy, to work really hard in solitude on something, but then find time for integrating. You know, if you are an independent worker, you know, with that Three of Cups there, this could be community, networking opportunities, coming together in groups where you share an excitement and a love for what you do. For some of you also, I mean, there may be a work event or a networking event where someone has a little bit too much tipple, if you know what I mean, and they kind of like breach professionalism, let's put it that way. So someone may make a pass at you that shocks you in the next coming weeks, because we do have that Knight of Cups, of course. I mean, if you're available to explore this and, you know, you don't mind having a work romance, I definitely see it's on the cards there for you. But the Three of Cups indicates mainly like sharing information. So some of you could learn some new things at this time to inform your path, but also open up new pay grades for you. And it literally means celebration. okay? Something to be celebrated is coming in. Something that you thought was only just like developing very slowly, I feel it flourishes or takes off. And this could be something that you're launching. I was clarifying the Tower to see, is this a negative shock? You know, some of you, there could be some shocks going on in your industry, but looking at the energy, I feel with that Four of Swords, you're protected, and Seven of Pentacles indicates that, you know, you are someone who basically is rewarded for hard work. So it could be a bonus for some of you, or a review that goes really well. And it could be that planning ahead, you're being told about a promotion or new money coming on in, or even a bursary or award that is going to be infiltrated into your team or your department, for example, a higher budget than usual for some of you, not all of you, of course, but that Three of Cups indicates there is a celebration, there's a win here, okay? Some of you may also be launching something and realize actually it's way more successful than you imagined it would be. You may be cautious about this, but actually it's really going to take off. So that Tower is not negative. I feel like it's something that you're building. It's some sort of structure. We also have that King of Pentacles that I mentioned earlier, which is about really being savvy with your wealth at this time, serious energy. I mean, it indicates a lot of you, especially if you go too fast, you know, I feel there could be something that has the potential to be missed. So I would say be diligent, especially when it comes to financial statements or spreadsheets regarding finances or calculations on something, because there is the potential here for a mistake. But a lot of you, it could be someone else that makes the mistake. And again, they try to either point it on you, or they don't take accountability for it. And everyone's asking questions like, well, how did it go wrong? I feel like there's a lot of problem solving here. You save the day on whatever this is. I mean, this could be a personal calculation as well. It doesn't have to be connected to business, but I feel, you know, it all works out in the end. I feel like you managed to correct it or find the discrepancy is what I'm seeing there. King of Pentacles is a very positive card, okay? A lot of you, this is a card of administrative tasks though as well, staying on top of bills, but also, you know, service providers, documents, filing, you know, this is about keeping everything organized. And for some of you, I do see that in July, there may be something that you're trying to hunt down that you cannot find. It just feels like, it could be an invoice for some of you, or it could be a payment from somebody. It could be that you're like, well, I didn't get that payment. So it could be investigating something, and you will find it, or you will be paid. I just want you to be aware of that. But for some of you, there could be like something that is not easily found, but suddenly you will find it, because the Tower is very sudden. Something hidden suddenly comes to light. We have that Knight of Cups. Something is being offered to you when it comes to your industry, your career, or your business. So if you're a creator and you love what you do, you're an artist, musician, singer, actor, this could be a dream opportunity. Okay, and it can be, you know, that shockingly you get to work with a pro in your industry, someone who, you know, is well known, famous. For some of you, this could be that you get like a manager or an agent who manages like really famous people, for example. I feel a lot of you, this is about being in the spotlight after a long period of working behind the scenes, working so hard, feeling like you've hit a plateau. And it doesn't have to be connected to like artists, musicians, or, you know, entrepreneurs or influencers online. This can literally be that you've got to a certain level in your industry and you feel really unappreciated, really unseen, and you feel like things are just at a standstill because there's so much pressure, and you may be working really hard with no support, but suddenly you're seen, suddenly you're offered something and you're shocked. You know, and I feel this is a beneficial shock at the end there, because the Tower can be, as I said, a shock. But I've already clarified that, and it looks like it's positive. The Tower can be many things. It's not a negative card. Just like the Devil card is not an evil card. You actually need the Devil card to highlight where you're feeling stuck, where you're feeling, you know, afraid or worried about things. It can be, you know, a sudden truth. Perhaps it can be, you know, an energy of being really disciplined with your time and not allowing any distractions. A lot of you, this could be releasing negatives in your industry, or completing tasks and responsibilities that perhaps you don't really like doing, so you can get it all out of the way really quickly and get on to the good stuff, as it were. I'm just going to get some final cards before I close your reading. We have depths, we have destiny, we have recycle. Thank you so much, Spirit Guides, Guardian Angels. Can you please guide my beautiful Pisceans? What do they need to know regarding... Now, I'm actually seeing in the water a rocket taking off. Okay, so, okay. This is rare. I rarely see letters, but they're actually forming together. It's O and N, on. Okay, so either it is on. I mean, normally if you see a rocket, it's like lift off, but okay. I'm just seeing the word on. I mean, these could also be initials, O and N. I mean, that could also be a 0, but it looks more like an O. Okay, sorry, my guys asked me to go again, so I have. So let me get clear. Rocket taking off. So either you are launching something or something is going to be taking off after a long period of research and feeling like in one position, just overwhelmed with a lot of work or deep in thought about something. And a rocket can indicate elevation in some way, or having the energy to lift something off or transform something, summoning all the strength to change your industry, perhaps being a maverick in some way, out of this world ideas maybe. I'm not really sure. I'm just giving you what I can see in the water, and just the word on, or O-N or 0-N, okay? So these things may be relevant. You could be going for an interview with a person and the company logo is a rocket, for example, or it could be that that's your logo, or maybe it's relevant in some way. So yeah. We have recycle. So as you can see, we've got some mushrooms there. Growth, you know, it happens in the dark. So a lot of you, when you feel like there's challenge, it indicates that you're growing in your career, flourishing. It's hard to take things to the top. It's hard to be successful, and you're not afraid of all that hard work. I feel like you've been investing fully in what you do. But it says here, what is old is new again. Back to work, old job, new angle, refurbish or resale. Some of you, you know, in the working environment, there could be a refurbishment going on, and that's the distraction, the sound noise, for example. Some of you could actually sell pre-loved goods. Perhaps there's a resale there. What else? Back to work. I mean, after a period of time, as I mentioned earlier, some of you are returning to work. Some of you may also be just a little bit nervous if you've been on maternity leave or you took a sabbatical, for example. It could be that you're nervous about returning to work and the working industry has changed and you're shocked at how much it's changed, but actually you're going to love it, and you know, you're back earning money again. So please take it as it resonates. We've also got depths. It says they're under the surface. I did mention already about like a power play under the surface, but you catch them out. It says more defined, not obvious, deep dive, true value, and worthy. You are definitely worthy of this success, is what I see. You've invested so much of your talent, your time, and you know, there's a lot of affluent energy in this card. These fish are very abundant. Okay, we've also got destiny, wealth through purpose. Okay, as you can see, there's a spider's web there. So it can indicate, I mean, webs can be very positive as well as negative. So it can be that, you know, you are invested in something, and the catch is you have to invest all of your time, and you're doing it now. So you feel very stuck that you're having to sacrifice certain things because you're doing it all now. But the payoff is that once you've completed it, then you're free. And, you know, therefore you're catching opportunities in order to benefit you long term. So free yourself up and have more time to do things that you love. And it says here, life path, mission fulfilled, healer, artist, self-employed. A lot of you are trying to become your own boss. And of course, that can feel very overwhelming. It feels, you know, far off, or somehow it feels worrying, you know, uncertain, or you're nervous about doing it. But I feel like you are a natural born leader, and I feel like you will attract the right opportunities, the right clients, customers, whatever it is that you do. And I feel you must be aware, because my guides are highlighting it in the water right now, that dream catchers are shaped like spiders' webs, okay? Spiders are actually very lucky. So it can indicate a dream job or a lucky opportunities coming in towards you that sees you connect fully to your destiny. And finally, we have security, okay? Planning for the long term. There's a little cat there which can highlight to a lot of you being independent. Maybe you're striving for more independence in your working environment, or you're an independent worker, or you're trying to launch yourself in that way. But it says long-term career, savings, investing, assets, money savvy. That all came out. And there's a beautiful gold padlock right there with a little cat in it. So it can indicate, you know, independent finances, locking things down, taking down debt right now, feeling secure for your future. And the King of Pentacles with that final card, there's definitely financially secure energy. But you're making this happen. You're doing it. And I really feel there's this energy that you're going for gold. Okay? So I'm just going to go and get a trinket or rune before we close. Okay, so... interesting. So we have a star and we have, interesting, it is a scorpion, but also it looks like the letter C. Okay, so the star, of course, is healing. So if you've been in a toxic environment, it's important to heal from that, especially if you've left it now. If you're not, I feel it's important to protect your inner peace and, you know, be mindful of how much pressure you're putting on yourself there. The star indicates you're stepping into the spotlight. The scorpion indicates you're resilient. It indicates, you know, that you are someone who is willing to go all in, okay? And for some of you, you may actually have Scorpio rising there, or you could have some sort of scorpion aspect, but it can indicate as well that some of you, you know, there's this energy of like being tenacious, but also having a bit of a sting in your tail. It's like you are kind of like ahead of the competition, and it's like you're a triple threat. That's what I'm being given, right? I didn't really want to say that word, but it's there. Triple threat. So you're very gifted at what you do, and it kind of like wards off the competition in some way. And perhaps there's even some sort of relevance that something you do now, it raises your star power, and there is like major success to come, like a pinnacle point in Scorpio season, around about October, November time. So it could be time relevant there as well, okay? So for some of you, this could also be that you're about to meet a person who has very strong Taurus and Scorpio in their chart, who could benefit you long-term in your career, or perhaps becomes one of your greatest cheerleaders in your industry. Maybe a client or a boss, or perhaps you're the boss and you meet somebody who is going to be a connection for your future, but it helps you build security for your future and your acquisitions, okay? So I'll leave it there. I hope something resonates in that reading. It's very complex, may not resonate with everyone, but I have to honor the cards that come out, the energy, what I see as well, what my guides give me. So I do hope it resonates with someone out there. So thank you so much, and love and light.